Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Fireside Chat. I am Nikki from Product School, and we are super excited to have Marily Nika here from Google, here to join us to talk about all things product, but more specifically, talk about the Product Manifesto. Thank you so much, Marily, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So excited.
Yeah, we're really excited here. Really special also because we're on the eve of the big launch and the big reveal. So this is going to be an exciting conversation. I'm really excited to jump in and dive and talk about a lot of this, the buzz around Product Manifesto.
Yes, I cannot wait. Honestly, it's been a long journey, but it's finally came to an end. So I can't wait to share everything we've done with the people. So
Awesome. Well, for those of you who don't know, if you haven't been following us, following along the journey, the Product Manifesto is this initiative that's led by us and by other amazing product leaders like Marily and several other people from top companies that is seeking to set out the core principles that define product management today. So stay tuned because tomorrow we'll have a huge reveal and it's going to be really exciting. And yeah, we're excited to talk a little bit more about the backstory and more specifically about you and your journey into product and everything. So yeah, we can go ahead and jump right in.
perfect.
Awesome. So before we get into the meat of the manifesto, we definitely would like to know a lot bit more about you and your personal story. How did you get into product, and what's your backstory there?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Let me start by saying that when you're in school, you really don't know what product is. No one really, well, when I was studying, no one was talking to me about product management or anything like this. So I grew up, I always loved computer science. I did a master's in computer science and then a PhD in computer science. And as part of my studies, I met a lot of women that worked at Google and Facebook and at these big companies. And one day, someone said that their role was product manager. And I had just had to ask, I said, okay, what is this? What does product management mean? There were no courses back then. There was no communities. And they just talked to me about it in the most simple way. They said, if you have great ideas and you love solving problems, this is it for you. So I immediately applied for a role within Google, and I was able to do what we call internally a PM rotation. So I got to see what the profession is like, and I got to work with a specific team, and then I interviewed internally, and yeah, I'm now a PM, and I'm loving it ever since.
Awesome. That's a great story. Yeah. So one of the things that we love about product is how, you can come from any background. And a lot of people have a similar story to you where they kind of got told about it and they enter. And so that's awesome. So now as a product lead at Google, what is one of the things that, inspires you the most about your job, about the work that you do?
I just love how each day is different. So there's no routine, if you will. Every day you will work on a variety of different products of your own, and each one of them is going to be at a completely different stage of the product development lifecycle. So you really need to switch like this from process to process. You get to discuss with many different types of people and groups within the organization and kind of switch the way you speak and the approach that you take. So it's just very interesting. And at the end of the day, a lot of people are coming together to bring fantastic experiences for our users. So I think being a part of something and being the glue that brings all these people together, it's just phenomenal. So that's the most exciting part.
Awesome. Well, in that same vein, at the same time, the product is exciting and you're solving customer problems. But on the other hand, what are some of the things that you think are the biggest challenges that product people face today?
Yeah. Well, first of all, and I think this is a great kind of bridge to the product manifesto, it is that the role is still kind of fluid. It's still kind of being defined. And I kind of it's a challenge, but also it's a blessing in the sense that you bring yourself into the role and you kind of define it and shape it the way you want it. But this can also be challenging because when you work with new PMs, there's this learning curve of kind of figuring out how to interact with them and how to best work with them. Now, other than that, I'm always a great believer of having frameworks in place and processes and so on. So having documentation in place and frameworks such as what we're going to do with the product manifesto is going to be really great because product managers of all stages do need an actionable blueprint that they can kind of follow in order to be able to achieve their goal. So I guess the challenge is that every day we need to have a blank canvas and define what it is we want to do in the most effective way. But yeah, documentation like this works and helps.
Awesome, incredible. Yeah, definitely like the idea of the blank canvas. That is really great to visualize. So, along with the product manifesto, what is something that drew you to the manifesto when you first heard about it? How has that journey been for you?
Yeah, so I got a message from the product school CEO, Carlos, which we've collaborated with many times in the past. And he said, "Hey, do you want to be a part of this working group?" And what immediately made me say yes is the people, the core team that is the heart of the product manifesto, because it's people that are very handpicked, they're unique, they bring a totally different perspective to the product manifesto based off of their experiences. And I like having diversity because the more diverse the PM group is, then the more diverse the products will be, then the more people we're going to reach and the more impactful we are going to be. So yeah, I think it's the people, the group that Carlos and Product School has gathered. I immediately said yes with no hesitation.
Awesome. We love to hear that. Yeah, that especially the part about diversity. That is one of the underlying reasons for the product manifesto. You know, creating something that will define the product manager's role, but not just for one person, but for all types of people. So that's great. Love to hear that. So, kind of switching gears, well, kind of looking into the past, and we're looking to the future with the product manifesto, but we're looking into the past when we think of the Agile manifesto. So, what are your thoughts about the Agile manifesto, and in what ways do you think that it could fall short for product managers specifically?
Yeah, I was looking into that. So the Agile Manifesto, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was written in 2001. And obviously, it's been 20 years and a lot has changed in the tech world. So, first of all, it seemed a bit outdated. And second of all, it seemed very much focused in the processes and in, more on how to build and be effective and scale and so on. Whereas if you're a product manager, you kind of need to let go of all that and take a step back and open up your mind and try to think ahead, like 10 years, 10x, if you will, so that you will not put and trap yourself in the processes. So I think this user-centric mindset is what was missing from the Agile Manifesto. And this is what we're trying to bring with the product one. So I'm as I said, I'm very happy we're doing this, and it's complementing it in a really nice way, I feel.
Great. I love how you said that it complements it as well. Yeah, it's just moving forward and thinking about the user in a different way.
Mhm.
Awesome. So, since you started product, what are some ways that you've seen the career evolve? Or I know it's a very still a fluid role, that is not extremely defined, but what are some ways that it has evolved since you started your career in product?
Let's see. Well, it also depends on the type of product you're working on. So I'm very technical. So I have a PhD in machine learning, and I started off by being an AI product manager. So things were very much based on research and on capabilities of algorithms and so on. So at some point in my career, I wanted to switch gears and try something else. So I moved towards a more 0 to 1 type of products. And this allowed me to flex different muscle and actually gain new skills. So I think if something has changed, and for me personally, is that I actually decided to build new skills and see how tech is embedded within different types of PM roles. With that said, overall, how the PM role has evolved, I think just more people have known about this role. More people have become PMs. More courses have evolved. I'm actually teaching product management in a couple of different places, and I just see how passionate and excited people are from all sorts of backgrounds. So I love how this awareness has been created, and I'm excited for the future of product, to be honest.
Awesome. Yeah. And what do you think of the future of product? Where do you see the role or the industry going? It's changed so much and it's ever changing, of course, just as the tech industry is. But do you have any ideas for what you see the future of this industry?
It's such a key role. Like you definitely need solid product managers that will create roadmaps that are strategic and that are based off of quantitative data and intuition up to a certain point. So, if anything, I just see more frameworks coming up that will help product managers think even further ahead in less risky ways, if that makes sense. But the future of product is it's still going to be there. We need to still make bets. We need to still take risks, and we need to advocate for this fantastic community of people. But I will say that I want to see more people getting more technical, because having technical skills as a product manager is just so key. And if anyone has any questions about that, I'd love if people reached out to me to help them gain that technical aspect in the product management world. So
Definitely important to stay on top of your skill and upskill always. So how do you think that the manifesto will apply to product managers at all levels, not just the product leaders and the senior product managers, but what about people at every stage of their career?
yeah, so on every question we tackled, we had people for stages in their career in mind. And for example, one of the questions that I worked on was, hey, how do you grow as a product manager? And then in that specifically, I said, okay, if you're just starting, here's what you need to do. If you're a senior, here's what you need to do. If you want to pivot from being an IC to a manager, here's what you need to do. So the entire thing has people of all stages in mind. And that's what I like, that it doesn't kind of exclude a certain group, or it doesn't exclude people based off of seniority. So it's a one thing fits all for all PMs.
Yes, awesome. And what about in your personal work? A lot of a big, huge part of the Product Manifesto is kind of getting product leaders and enabling product leaders like yourself and others who are in the working group to kind of give back to the community and show support. So what are some of the ways that you show support and that you like to support the product management community?
Yes, I try in every way I can. I give a lot of talks around product management on Clubhouse, on Instagram Live, and I also teach product management in a couple of different places. I think Product School was one. So and I mentor young PMs that are aspiring, that want to join, that want to grow. So yeah, I love it if people wanted to follow me on Instagram. That's the best way to reach out to me. I just believe mentorship can help people go a long way. So yeah, that's it.
And how has mentorship affected your career personally? Do you have any examples of that?
Well, I didn't even know what the product management role was about until I met this fantastic woman. She was a software engineer at Google, and I kind of visited Google because I got a scholarship from there to do my PhD. And we were having coffee, and she asked me, "What is it that you want to do after you graduate?" I didn't know. I just told her what I like doing, and I said, "Well, I have all these ideas. I like talking. I like presenting. I love strategizing and kind of planning ahead." And she said, "Well, coding, you can be a software engineer, of course, but the product world is something that you should explore, and you should definitely talk to PM." So she opened my eyes into this world, and she connected me to fantastic PM leaders that talk to me about this space, and that was it. I immediately found out all about what the PM world was about. And also before that, I think the only reason I got the scholarship from Google was because someone that was mentoring me just forwarded an email that they found, and they said, "Hey, this would be great for you." So I don't think I would be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for mentorship. And this is why I mentor. I want to give back to the community, and we all owe it to the community to help each other, and those that are just starting off their career, or even more senior than us, to just keep pushing and moving forward.
100%. You're speaking our language, and it's also incredible how these small things can kind of turn into a ripple effect and affect your life in a very big way. So shout out to to your mentor. So about the tech industry in general, we talked a lot about diversity and diversity in tech specifically. Today, the tech industry, we would say, is still quite male dominated. So, what advice do you have for women in tech or women who are looking to break into tech or into product management?
For women that are currently in tech, my advice is what I said before, which is raise awareness about these issues. And if you feel like an imposter, so if you have the imposter syndrome, which means that you may feel like you don't belong or that you're really lucky, just let it go. Just put it in the back of your head and know that the reason you're where you're at is because you earned it. You earned a seat at the table. For people that want to join the tech world, I have to say that I see a change on a day-to-day basis. Things are getting so much better. In 5, 10 years, I don't think diversity is going to be an issue anymore. But the way to change this is if we take control and we actually we bridge the gap, if that makes sense. And one more thing I want to say is that it's not just for women; it's also for men and allies. So everyone needs to support this cause. Everyone needs to help close the diversity gap. And if you see something that's not right, call it out, raise awareness, learn, and support communities that are created for women in tech in order to just help them grow and get the skills they need to join this world. So
Definitely. It's definitely on, on everyone to make sure that we all lift each other up and support one another. So thank you for bringing that up for sure. So kind of going back into the product manifesto, we are coming up to the last 10 minutes of our call. So we'll try
yeah.
to dive deep into some of the principles and give, people a little sneak preview of what's to come tomorrow. So while you're working on the manifesto, what are some of the principles that resonated with you the most?
I think it's the ones I chose to work on, which is why does strategy matter in product management? So, why do we need to create a plan before actually proceeding with the product development process? So, how can we make sure what we're building is set up for success? How can we just not rush into building something and just failing eventually? So that's number one. Number two, how to grow as a PM, as I mentioned, is a very important one. Just because we have very practical advice, like step by step things you should and you shouldn't do. And again, this came from people that are in all these big companies, and they all brought their own perspectives. So the way we did this is we had a lot of shared Google Docs, and we all just jumped in, created comments, and then had multiple calls where we reviewed each and every one of them, literally line by line, just to make sure it resonates with everyone. So yeah, I think these two: how to what strategy means for product management and how to grow as a PM.
Awesome. And how was the experience managing your day job at Google with the working group and the process? What's some advice that you have for people who are working on side projects in addition to their regular job?
Oh, I think people should definitely do this. It's the best thing I've ever done to do this sort of outreach outside of my day job. First of all, make sure you find an employer that supports you to do that because it's very healthy, I feel. Second of all, we are the managers of ourselves, so we manage our time. We need to make sure, obviously, to have completed everything else we're doing, be on top of things, and then you honestly can keep on having a 1 hour lunch at some point, or have lunch and dial in a call for the product manifesto, or work an hour after work on some of this sort of thing, or even on the weekend. But honestly, it didn't feel like work. It felt like it was fun because we had calls, we were on the same Zoom call, and like we were laughing, we were working, we were saying jokes. So it was the climate was great. So if you want to do any side job, just make sure it brings you joy, because at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Awesome. That
Yeah.
sounds like that sounds like a really positive experience. And it makes me all the more excited for tomorrow's lunch. So excited to see what you guys worked on. So how do you foresee yourself using the manifesto in your day to day, or how do you think product people should, utilize this document?
Yeah. It definitely is a document that you will need to refer to, if not on a day-to-day basis, like at least a couple of times per week. So it's something that I actually have printed it and I have it right here. It's something that you should be able to quickly refer to in case something comes up. Now, I don't think it's something that you'll read once and you'll leave it at a library, if that makes sense, or if you have it as a file that you're just gonna let go of. Um, People should learn from it, but also think that this is a live document in a way. So maybe in a few years we need to update it. But yeah, I would refer to it on every chance I get. And if there's any addition or anything else you'd like to see in there, please reach out to us. We'd love to incorporate it.
Definitely. We love that it's going to be, a living document and something that will have many iterations to come in the future.
Yeah.
What are some things that where do you think the manifesto will go from here, looking towards the future?
Looking forward to the future. I am just excited to see the response after the launch tomorrow. So I want to see what people think of it, what the comments are. But I do think it's going to resonate well with people because of just how much work we put into it, as I said. And after this, I just anticipate a lot of people to just get a copy and just have this free, fantastic resource that they can use as the blueprint, like I talked about in the beginning.
Definitely. And how can people connect with you if they want to, ask you a couple of questions about some of the things you mentioned today? I know you mentioned Instagram earlier or the Clubhouse, but yeah, if you want to go ahead and shout
Of
yourself
course,
out.
the best way is Instagram. I post a lot of things about product in there. I was talking about the manifesto. So yeah, Instagram, please reach out to me, Twitter as well. I love connecting with people and helping any way I can. So yeah, I would love to provide any advice or just make new friends.
Awesome. Definitely. We love Instagram and we love Clubhouse as well. So you were involved in some of the Product Manifesto events on Clubhouse, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So do you want to give us some insights into what, these conversations were like, what the response for the community was?
Yes, we had one last Thursday. I think we got 170 people to attend, and I think that one was specifically around how to grow as a product manager. And it's just so interesting how so many people share the same questions, but they're, I don't know, too intimidated to ask, or they don't know who to ask. And the key advice we gave was make sure you understand the scope of your current level, but also the scope of the level you want to go to, because a lot of times you need to be performing at the next level before you get promoted, and that's something that a lot of people could not understand and a lot of people didn't know about. So that's maybe advice we can give in this call as well, that hey, if you're looking for a promotion or the next step in your career, make sure you're already doing the thing that you want to be doing, because that's going to set you up for success.
Definitely great advice for anyone at any stage. So that's awesome. So going into some of the principles of product management, there's also a lot of misconceptions about product people. So we always hear that people are project managers or that we're the CEO of the product and other things like that. Do you think that the manifesto will the manifesto be addressing any of these issues, or in general, what are some of your favorite misconceptions to debunk about product people?
Yeah, the project versus product. Oh my God, this is such a huge one. We did address the fact that each company names their product managers in different ways. So I think there are companies that call them program managers, there are companies that call them product owners, and you just need to read the descriptions of each role to kind of make sure this is a product role, right? So it's not a process role. Or if a company tells you, hey, join as a project manager, you can convert to a product manager. Sure, it happens, but you'd be better off starting off in the product world immediately. That's just my advice. So yeah, we do address part of it, not to the extent that we could, but yeah, definitely something to address. Now, the another thing I love to debunk whenever the PM world comes in is people think that the PM does not strategize and that they just work to create a nice experience and so on. But being a PM, a huge part of it is the strategy. So you need to define the strategy. You need to create a roadmap that's strategic. So strategy is the bread and butter of being a PM. And I do want to call this out because you do need these strategic thinking skills in order to be a fantastic PM. And I just want people to be aware of this.
Very, very important.
Yeah.
Very important. Okay, well, we're coming up to our last question. So, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a new person coming into product who may not even understand what the background with Agile Manifesto or Product Manifesto is? How can this help them in their pursuit of becoming a product manager or getting into the product world?
Yeah, my advice is if it doesn't work out immediately, it doesn't mean that it's not going to work out. So just keep at it, keep practicing, keep putting the user first, because that's what it all comes down to. Putting the user first and solving for their needs. So user, and just have patience. It's going to work out in the end, and it's going to be worth it for sure. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marily. Well, we are coming up to the end of our time. I would like to thank you so much for joining us, especially right before tomorrow, the big day. And thank you so much for contributing so much to this project and to the community. I mean, the work is not going to go unnoticed, and we're really excited for tomorrow. If you have anything else that you'd like to leave us with before we go ahead and close out.
Perfect. No, just keep rocking the product world. Product management is the best career. Just stay with it. It's worth it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marily, and thank you to everyone who joined us, and stay tuned. We will see you guys back here tomorrow. Have a great day and stay safe.